This is our Pod Between Worlds show, episode 2. Today, we're going to talk to you about lots of Clone Wars stuff happening. We're going to dive into some Battlefront and video game news, and then also there is some images of Reys Lightsaber that are out now. So all of this is coming in hot. Welcome to another episode, everybody. Ollie, let's just kick things off. We're going to dive right into all the news that's out there before we get into the Clone Wars stuff.
Yep.
First off, Reys Lightsaber. I believe you were talking about that before the show.
Yeah, so there's Battlefront 2 is releasing an update or just released an update, and one of the skins is Rey with her yellow lightsaber. And then there was I think it was from the visual effects team from Rise of Skywalker. I saw it this weekend and of course didn't save it, and now I can't find it anywhere, so it's probably a myth. But no, basically they released kind of the idea behind her lightsaber and a couple more images of what exactly it looked like. Obviously it's a really neat with the yellow. It's the first time we've seen that in live action.
Yep.
And basically it's the top or bottom. It's one of the ends of her staff. Basically cut off, but I think probably the neatest thing is kind of the contraption at the top that opens up the blade. It actually is like closed, and it like you can see it in Rise of Skywalker. Obviously, it actually like opens up like a flat disc that then like spears out and opens up. So it's got like little spikes on the top, which is really neat. And how she turns it on. Almost every lightsaber in Star Wars is like a button or a latch. Hers is like almost like a washer or a gear that's horizontal, and she actually flips it that way, which in turn turns on the lightsaber and opens up the top. So it's a pretty neat design. Definitely kind of to her scavenger roots, you know what I mean? Like very kind of industrial. Not very polished. But they have the animation in the Battlefront thing. And they did a good job. It's always impressive with the little details they'll pick to follow, because she has Anakin's lightsaber obviously, and when she turns that on, the animation's just pushing the button, right? And the new animation, you can see her like flick the emitter disc or whatever you would call it, so you can see her thumb turn it on. So they like animated her whole hand gesture, turn it on the right way.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is pretty neat. And that kind of leads us into a little bit more of the Battlefront thing. I guess this was the last Battlefront 2 update, which has people interested because the game obviously made a huge comeback. It caught a lot of shit at the beginning for microtransactions, and rightfully so. Just the way it was done, basically any progression you had was all randomized, and it was all basically you had to buy stuff to get anywhere near some of the top level players, which I played a lot at the beginning, and it was. I mean, I'm a big gamer and I don't mind grinding, right? But this was like insane because you're not basically you would grind to get like a I forget what they called them, but basically like a package of random stuff, right? And it would just like give you random things, so you could get, you know, a certain power up for a character you don't even own or you don't use, you know what I mean? So you couldn't like pick your you couldn't even like narrow it down to like, hey, I play assault, so could you at least give me assault cards, you know, upgrades? So it was very difficult, and people, you know,
it definitely reminded me of the Halo, the Rex, the Rec the Rec packs that you would kind of get. They were kind of random.
Right, but imagine if that was your whole character. Like, so in Halo, you still had guns, and you still, like, those were just, like, extra things. Like, in Battlefront, like, when you loaded in, that's what your character, like, he had a shotgun, and maybe you had a gray shotgun. But, like, the guy that paid a bunch of money had a purple shotgun, which did 5 times as much. It was just crazy. You know what I mean?
I think I got, like, with Battlefront 2, I got to a point where literally I couldn't get any new
Right.
anything I was getting. It was just like the same shit. I was just like, this was just around the time the loot boxes started coming to light that people were like, what the hell is with this microtransaction bullshit? So
Yeah, it's just a
that's kind of
tough,
when I fucked off.
gaming's gone through it a decent amount, and I'm sure we'll talk about it on our gaming show, but like it's fine to do there's a good way to do loot boxes, and most of them are in free to play games, and not tied to progression. But this did everything. It was a $60 game that had loot boxes that were tied to progression. It was the worst version of everything. So anyways,
Yep.
it came a long way. They changed a lot of it, and it's seen a big resurgence with the last couple updates, and a lot of people playing. And this one really is no different. A bunch of updates to stuff. I think they did Scarif on this one, new map. So there's a bunch of stuff coming, and they announced that this was the last update. So people are kind of, one, there's some speculation that I think you're going to get into, but two, it's kind of like one of those things that a bunch of people are like, man, we'd pay at this point. Now that you've got it to this point, a lot of us would pay for content, But I think in the end, it's, whether the conspiracy theory that you're going to get into is right or not, I think it's more just a business decision. EA is a big company, you know what I mean? So I know that they're working on the next Battlefront game or Battlefield game. So they use a lot of the same people, you know what I mean? So they have a project life, and they have so many updates, and then they move people. So I just don't think it's part of their plan to continue to do updates, paid or not. So
Yeah.
you want to break down kind of some of the rumblings?
Yeah, so like with the Battlefront 2 updates, so this is the last update. There's a lot of speculation going on right now that that Disney, or I should say, Disney, I guess overall, there was rumors that I was reading that supposedly they're in talks of trying to sever ties with EA. Obviously, that's not confirmed. It's not, not a news source or
Please be
anything.
confirmed.
It would be cool if it's confirmed, but the reason for that, or part of it, supposedly is because of obviously all the the mishaps with the video games, and like they haven't put out a ton of content. That said, there's still the Project Maverick release coming in. I guess it's still coming next year, supposedly.
Haven't heard anything. Yeah.
Battle
Fallen Order 2.
Fallen Order 2 is confirmed for 2022. But Project Maverick, I've actually read that it's supposedly going to be a flight simulator type style of game. But that kind of leads it, if these talks are true, I think they're locked in until we went over this like a long
2022 or 2023.
I think it was 2023 or something like that. So if that's true and they're trying to cut out early, I wonder if that's going to leave those other two video games up for grabs, or if they're going to follow through with those two and then, maybe sever ties and say, EA, you get those two games, and then kind of go the old route, which had
applying for licenses and
like with Star Wars 1313,
right.
The Jedi Knight games. I mean, you could go on with all the 90s games were the best ones.
I would imagine there's some writing on the wall in EA, because with the High Republic coming out, if Disney hasn't asked you to develop any High Republic games, you have to figure that they're not looking to move forward. Even though they've said the High Republic first phase is just books and comics, like, that they're going to do video games. You know what I mean? So if they haven't asked, like, I feel like that's weird, right? Not that we know that, but
yeah, that's true. I don't know. The whole relationship between Star Wars and EA, or just Disney and EA, just it's with the Battlefront 2 and all that stuff. I don't know.
Yep.
I think it would be best if they went back the other way and kind of left. I mean, the biggest problem they would have to face, like you were saying, or canon wise, is keeping all the video games canonical to the Star Wars universe. I mean, you're gonna the best thing about LucasArts, in my opinion, what happened in the 90s was that there wasn't, they could kind of go with whatever they wanted to do with
right.
the game.
Shadows of the Empire, and
I mean, Jedi Knight Academy came out on Switch. You're playing as a character that's not canon. You're
Yep.
not in a canon setting technically, and you're in Luke's Jedi Academy, and that's the whole basis. But like, if that game came out now, they couldn't do something like that
Right.
per se. I mean, unless they're talking about Luke's Jedi, the new Jedi.
It's not as much flexibility. Yep.
No, not at all. So that said, do you think that if so, say that the talks being severed are true, do you think that they're gonna find another partner, or do you think they're gonna go back to the old way where they went to all the different studios, like the independents and stuff, and they were able to make whatever games they wanted?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that side of the business enough to have any kind of accurate gauge on it.
Yep.
You know, the more I've said that I don't want EA, the more it's kind of been like, you know, you think about it and it's like Star Wars is expensive, you know what I mean, for the licensing.
Yep.
So I don't know that if they cut ties with EA, does that mean they just go to the next big company? You know what I mean? Like Blizzard, Activision, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so does it get better? Or do you let all of these studios, there's just no, I guess at the end of the day, you could do a thing where if you didn't make it exclusive to EA could still, like if it was just out there, an EA studio could come up with an idea, pitch it, and buy the license to develop it still. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, I think the trouble is what's better for the video games may not be better for business. You know what I mean? Right. I'm sure Disney makes a lot of money by signing a 10-year exclusivity contract. You know, EA paid out the ass for that. You know what I mean? I don't think it worked very well for video games. We really got arguably two good ones. Now that Battlefront 2 people like, if you want to classify that, and Fallen Order was really good. But
what was the first one? Was that Battlefront?
Just Battlefront, yeah. I mean, you know, a bunch of mobile games and Galaxy like that. Even I don't even know if those are under EA. It just wasn't there. There should have been more. They had plenty of time. Well, there should have been more.
The other thing too that I was reading is that Disney had a big influence in pushing the mobile aspect.
Yeah. Well, okay. So didn't they have like Lego Star Wars? Like I think that's all.
Lego Star Wars. They had Galaxy of Heroes, which is still going. They had
Isn't it weird not to have, in a way, as much as I don't love them, but is it maybe a new console thing? Isn't it weird not to have a movie game? Like, wasn't there a Phantom Menace game that you basically played through the story and Attack of the Clones
back in the day?
Right?
Yeah.
So isn't it odd that is that just not a thing anymore? I just thought of that, but like, shouldn't there be a Force Awakens video game, a Last Jedi video game, where you just basically play through the? Yeah, but I'm not asking that. I'm saying just the lack of content. Like, there's just nothing out there. You think there'd at least be 3 games that follow the movies, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I do remember the Phantom Menace game. I remember playing that specifically on PlayStation.
I don't know. It's insane that they had the contract, and this is all. That's all I'm saying. So maybe if there is no contract, maybe they make less money. They make more money per game, but less money, like an overall dump. You know what I mean? One-time thing. Right. So it may not be better for business, but it's better for the games because now EA or Activision or a little studio, they have to come up with a good idea and kind of get approved and then buy the license, but at least the games will be better. I don't know. That's how I see it. I don't know exactly
that license deal started in 2013. So you had Xbox One came out in 2014, I believe. Yeah. So Battlefront, when did Battlefront come out? Battlefront came out, it had to be around that same time.
So it looks like Battlefront was 2015, Battlefront 2 was 17, Fallen Order was 19.
So they were.
Are those really the only games that came out?
Yep.
I mean, that's
sad.
It's pathetic.
Yeah, and it's not even like, and it was exclusive to. It wasn't.
So Galaxies of Heroes was another one.
Yep.
They did a re-release of Old Republic, but these aren't. That's not. That doesn't count. You know what I'm saying?
Which isn't canon. So
I don't-
at the moment, it's not canon.
Terrible.
Yeah, I think they screwed the pooch. I think they. So I just read this book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and it specifically talks about Star Wars 1313 leading up to when Disney buys out LucasArts,
Yeah.
or Lucasfilms, which is part, LucasArts is part of that, and they divest LucasArts. They pretty much they get rid of that, and
Yeah.
they just make it it's Lucasfilms. And one of the biggest things was that in the book, it explicitly talks about the mobile aspects that Disney was like all hell bent.
Yeah, for money. Yep.
Games, we're gonna make money doing it that way. That's the future, 1313. So like what happened was they went into a pitch with Disney asked them to make a pitch for what they thought was Star Wars 1313 because they did 2 years of work, and they were like they already had a lot of the story and everything going on, and then they literally were like, yeah, no, we're good. We're not gonna, we were just kind of seeing if you guys wanted to join the team. And then that pretty much is what happened. And then
Yeah.
most people left, and then some of the other ones stayed, and then Disney kind of took over the creative content. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's just you think EA, with all the friggin' money that they have in the world and the development studios that they have, they should be pushing out video games at least once, maybe one every 2 years at least, and they haven't done that. So
hopefully that's the truth. Hopefully that's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
Because there just needs to be more games. It's insane to have that IP and not be. I mean, as much as I hate to say, like, I don't want just a bunch of crappy games, but like, how with that license do you not just put out games, even if they're not that good? There should be 10 games. There should be games me and you are going, oh, right, the Star Wars card game, I forgot about that. Like, how do you make money? Like, there literally should be 15 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not major blockbuster games, you know what I mean? If there's only the Battlefront, Fallen Order, there should be at least one more. But like, even if those were the only like big ones, Galaxy of Heroes, there should have been 10 mobile games. How is there not? It's just crazy. It's crazy to me that it seems like the biggest waste.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I think they one of the biggest things that I've been waiting for, and it's maybe it's because of the calling of Knights of the Old Republic, is just give us a fucking open world Star Wars game.
Yeah, they just can't. They just can't figure it out, man.
In Fallen Order, like my sister's been telling me like you should get this game, like because we used to play Metroid.
Yeah.
And,
yep.
We've talked about it in length, and she's like, oh yeah, it's a lot like it has resemblance to like that Uncharted Metroid feel, especially the GameCube Metroid and the GBA versions and all that.
Yeah.
And but like that's not open world. That's like your linear progression.
No, but it's better than what we've got. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes,
not getting,
they need the Old Republic, the one that's on PC, Old Republic, like that kind of thing. But not an MMO. You know what I mean? Just an open world like Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. They would sell so much. I don't understand why someone can't do that.
Imagine No Man's Sky meets Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, just like something.
Sky.
And maybe we'll get it now that we're getting the High Republic. Maybe they just didn't have a spot that they could do it and not affect canon. Maybe that was the problem. So now we have the High Republic. Maybe they can do something there. But take the gloves off, right? Like let's like. It's unbelievable that they can't. You know what the funny thing is? Think about how many like shows and games you've seen that have like lightsaber mods. Someone did like all of Game of Thrones with lightsabers. It's like, hello, everyone's making everything else Star Wars. Can't you just put something out that is that? Like, why do we have to have Game of Thrones Star Wars? And they made The Mandalorian. But you know what my point is? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is it taking so long?
I don't know. Maybe it's just the can aspect.
It could be right. It could be Disney. Let's put that out there. It could be Disney saying no to a bunch of ideas. True. Very true.
And that's the problem. I mean, that's kind of been I think that's been a big drawback with canon, is that now you can't like just be like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna do Jedi Academy. You can't do that now. You
Yeah.
have to follow the canon, which is fine. I hope it's not High Republic personally, because I just don't think that's. I would like to see more of the High Republic first before diving in. I would just think take the sequel trilogy or something and just make a video game out of it. Do something with it, and not Battlefront. Do like an open world shit. Just make up a bunch of stuff. Say this is not canon. This is just a video game.
I think they need to do. I think that's the. I think they should do High Republic, because I think they could do it maybe before the books start or something, and do enough open world where you can kind of change things.
Here's a counter argument to the canon thing. Marvel, their video games are not canon, but they're still there.
I know.
Why
I think
Star Wars do the same thing.
They can. They choose not to.
I'm just saying they should be. They should do it.
Yeah. Well, they don't. I mean, it's a cohesive. They're trying to create a cohesive universe, and video games are tough to do with that, but they're not that tough, especially when you have different timelines. You know,
if you have a Fallen Order or a video game that's canon, great, have that. But give us just an open world or something different, because it's just kind of like you've given us bullshit. It's like you've given us a couple of great games, great, but like,
well, Battlefront, to be fair, and I like Battlefront. Battlefront is no marvel of achievement. Like, there's been 100 Battlefronts. It's a reskinning and a re-updating of the same shit. I have a blast with it, but I'm not giving them any kind of like insane credit for like coming up with the idea of Battlefront. Like it's been around forever. You literally have just updated, which is great. But I'm saying, like, you don't get credit. Like Fallen Order, you get credit for. That was really well done. So one game, there was like thoughtful effort that way. You know what I mean? And that's a bummer.
In Battlefront, also, like you said, it's like reskinning. It is.
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah. Couple new mechanics.
It's not like Call of Duty, though. It's not like you could argue Call of Duty is like that, but Call of Duty, every game still has something different or gives some unique experience to it. Whereas Battlefront,
a little bit, but at the same time, Star Wars is different, right? Call of Duty is just trying to it's just a game. They're trying to update the game mechanic, right? Like, there's no real, the story, for some people they like it, but a lot of the games, the story's not important. It's the multiplayer, right? So but for Star Wars, I'm just saying, Battlefront 2 was great for what it was. But the little storyline was fun, but it's like 8 hours long, and it basically just, it was good.
Yeah.
But there's not a ton of it's the only thing you did until Fallen Order came out. That wasn't difficult. There wasn't much there in terms of the thought of Star Wars. You know what I mean? Yeah. You made a new Battlefront where you just put all new characters in. It's the same thing. You added some planets. Like, those are just maps. That's not a new idea. You know what I mean?
The only game you can play, Rey, Kylo Ren, and just, we can get into it later on in a different podcast show, in our gaming show. But it's just we could go on all day about this. It's incredibly frustrating. They haven't put any out. They put out one fucking game, maybe two now, with Fallen Order 2 that's coming out.
Yep.
And that's it. They haven't done anything in their mobile games. They closed down Uprising, and Galaxy of Heroes sucks. I hate that game. But
even if you liked it, there still should be 10 other ones. That game we played, Uprising, and they canned that. That was way better than Galaxy Heroes.
Yeah, absolutely was. But even then, it's like, why is it on a fucking phone? Put it on a fucking console. Oh, because mobile's more lucrative? But, it's just...
Yeah.
You need to,
that storyline was good enough to make it for a console. Yeah. Yep, they should have.
It fell right between the Fall of the Empire and...
It was it was interesting. Yep. I think it would have done better with a $60 price tag for Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyways, we'll wrap that one up. I mean, that we can keep going on about video games with that sense.
Yeah. Let's get into let's do a nice breakdown of this. The last episode comes out tomorrow, and then I think we should do a whole show just on the last 4 episodes, right? And just kind of get into some of the nitty-gritty stuff, you know.
Just a side note, tomorrow, obviously, May the 4th be with you. and we will not we. Disney is releasing Rise of Skywalker on Disney Plus. They're releasing behind the scenes on Mandalorian. So definitely check those out. If this is the first time you've heard of it, check it out tomorrow. Watch all the trilogies, whatever. And then now they're releasing the last episode of Clone Wars. So there'll be. Well, actually, there was one other thing too.
Rise of Skywalker.
No. Dr. Aphra, the digital comic.
Is out.
It's a new series.
Tomorrow? Okay.
Volume 2, issue 1 is I guess they're continuing that storyline. So
Cool.
that's pretty cool. But yeah, let's dive right into the episode. The last episode, which was Shattered, episode 11.
Yep.
Initial thoughts. I'll let you kick it off first.
Yeah, another excellent one, right? In I think in different ways than the one before, the Phantom Apprentice. They're both. I'd be hard pressed to pick which one I liked more. They're just totally different, right? This is way more kind of that. If you're a big Star Wars fan, this is way more personal with the Order 66 and seeing how this whole thing ends with Rex and Ahsoka. Good emotional writing with the Rex stuff, Rex and Ahsoka. You know what I mean? But yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought I was really close to making that call that she talks to Windu, but right. And it was very close to the timing, but she didn't say anything. But that goes back to kind of what we were talking about with Obi-Wan in that first episode where he was playing the Jedi Council. They just don't. They're too stuck up, right? Yoda clearly saw that she had something to say, and not even he could get it out of her because they're just too self-righteous, So, but it was interesting how they played that into Revenge of the Sith.
What's funny is last night I actually stayed up late and I actually watched Revenge of the Sith.
I did that like 2 weeks ago just because I was interested in it. Yeah,
I did last night.
It's crazy how much it ties in, right?
Oh my god, it made me I want to just keep rewatching Revenge of the Sith now just because of that whole episode.
Yeah,
how it tied in. It was cool.
Somebody will come up with a way to do watch Revenge of the Sith and pause it and then watch the Clone Wars episode that goes along with that timeline. But you watch Revenge of the Sith in pieces with the Clone Wars episodes in between them. You know what I mean?
I will say Anakin, Hayden Christensen, just God, I kid. Sometimes he's just so cringeworthy.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was the right.
Oh God. But not to get off track, but just I had to watch it again last night just to see where things lined up and everything. So but so overall, so you can't decide whether the last episode or this episode was the best one.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd rank them. I'd have to watch them both again and kind of see how I feel. I just feel like they were totally different.
How about that scene with Darth Maul just like the Darth Vader,
just staring out of this little prison thing?
The
hallway.
The hallway scene, just like the Vader scene in Rogue One.
Yeah, it definitely was based on that kind of thing. Yeah.
It was that.
That was pretty gory. He threw the thing and chopped off 2 of their heads and and cut off one of their arms and without a lightsaber. Just with metal doors.
That's he's still one of my favorite characters.
Oh, he's great.
He's I mean, as evil as he is, but it's still just such that scene. I was like, oh God, this is great.
That was cool.
This. But it was a really cool scene. One of the other things I found that was really interesting was just how Rex. So kind of going back to our last podcast, and you were saying you thought maybe Rex took the chip out beforehand,
right, and he hadn't. Yep.
So he hadn't there. So we finally see how what happens there. That was a big revelation. It was.
Yeah, a lot of people were. We'll have to do this in the call back. We'll read Ahsoka and look at the Rebel episodes because a lot of people were saying that Rex lied, or it's this is one issue I have is like there's certain things that may be retconned and truthfully changed and now wrong. But to me, like retconning, if it fits and it doesn't, like people can lie, right? Rex can say 20 years from then to Kanan, I didn't betray my Jedi, right? Because he didn't kill Ahsoka. And he warned her for a split second before his chip went off, right? So people are like, "Oh, he lied," and it's like, "Well, no, he didn't. Well, he could have lied, right? But it's from what version of truth you're coming from. So I didn't have a problem with that.
I didn't take
especially
that.
because of his warning. Like he was the only one that stuttered.
Yeah,
and it's in his brain.
Like, what the hell am I doing?
Right.
And I mean, he's one of the big commander of the clone army. So
yeah.
But like it was I couldn't like to the people that are like saying, "Oh, he lied." Like, really? Like, it's just we finally get to see what happens, and now you're trying to say we're they're retconning everything.
Right.
Like,
I thought that was fine. I didn't think that was a big deal.
I don't remember reading anything in Ahsoka that like related to that specific scene. I would have to.
We're gonna have to go back because of the lightsaber thing too. Apparently, like that would be a retcon. That would be something that actually messed it up, right?
Right.
But you can get over some of those little ones. But I don't think the Rex one is that big a deal. He's telling it from I don't want to get into from this point of view, but yeah, there were some. I didn't do a ton of note taking just because I know this one's coming out tomorrow, the last one, and then we can go through everything. But the whole Ahsoka saying I'm one with the Force is one with me kind of thing.
That was cool.
That was neat. I don't know if that was a play on. Well, obviously it was a play on what Chirrut says in Rogue One, but I wonder if that was her. I got the feeling at the time that was her saying it because Rex was repeating it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much doing something for her. It was him saying it allowed like the Force to work through him to pinpoint the chip, whereas she couldn't find it with the Force because it wasn't in her. You know what I mean? So she was like almost kind of like feeding the Force into Rex so that he could identify it. Is kind of what it felt like to me, because Chirrut technically doesn't have the Force, but it kind of flows through him in a way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of what I got. But I thought that was cool. Obviously, I already mentioned the Mace Windu thing and the Jedi Council when she talks to them. It was interesting that she felt the Anakin thing where he would like, chopped off Mace's hand, like that whole thing with Palpatine and yeah.
So the other thing was so I had to actually watching that Revenge of the Sith again because I was like the voice sounded a little off to me.
Yeah, they like doubled it, right, or something.
Yeah, he actually the Clone Wars actor actually, the voice actor actually said the words that Anakin actually says in the movie. So because I was like, that sounds
both
odd.
of their voices were listed. Samuel L. Jackson, Hayden Christensen, the guy who does Mace Windu in the Clone Wars, and the guy who does Anakin in the. So all four voices apparently were used in that sections, but I don't know what combination of.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. It was but yeah, I remember listening to that and being like, oh, is that the actual scene or is that like a play on it? And so it kind of answered my question though.
It was well done.
Yeah, it was very well done. I mean, and clearly she knows something happened with Anakin and that those consequences with Ahsoka's novel and everything. And obviously she kind of finds out more in Rebels, but trying to think. So after that episode, where do you think? So where do you think the story is going to go after this?
So Rex and Ahsoka have to escape somehow. They're on the way back to Coruscant. So I wonder. I'm trying to think of how it could work. I wonder if she tries. What's that?
Coruscant. There's no way they're going to Coruscant.
Well, they're in hyperspace to Coruscant.
they're gonna get out of hyperspace and
Maybe, I don't know.
maybe get away from.
I don't know if we see them on Coruscant, and maybe she goes to the Jedi Temple and sees kind of the catastrophe before Obi-Wan and Yoda. Like she just sneaks in and sees it, or witnesses something like that. I think in the end, what will happen is we'll see her get the code that Obi-Wan switches the Jedi signal code to, where he says "stay away" because it triggered to call them all back. I think we'll see her get the "stay away" code, and then we have to see some version of that burial thing that she talks about in her book, where they bury her lightsabers with like Rex's helmet or something, and another clone body. I think to say that like Rex and her died. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know if we'll see like some little flashes of Order 66 like cartoonized, or if we're just gonna stay mostly with Ahsoka and Rex. I don't know.
Yeah, or even seeing Obi-Wan or any other characters. I wonder if like Vader, if he'll make an appearance or not, or just Kenobi or Vader. I mean, we don't know how long this episode's going to last after, or if it's going to lead up to when Anakin and Obi-Wan fight. No idea.
I mean, I think it'll go on after. I think it'll be a little bit later, but whether they flash back to that, I'm more interested to see if we stick with Ahsoka and Rex, or if it opens up a little bit and we see some of the other things that we knew happen, you know what I mean, in different points of view, or if we're just gonna, zone in on Ahsoka and maybe just get like flashes of like the code being changed and stuff like that, just kind of so we know that's going on at the same time, kind of like when she talked to the Jedi Council.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. What do you think happens? We have to see what happens to Maul too. That's the other thing.
Right, he has to get away too. Yep.
Yeah, so I wonder if Ahsoka. That was a big moment too. That Ahsoka was just like, you're a distraction, and
she says, "Oh, I'm not rooting for you."
Yeah, that was a great scene right there.
Yeah.
That was so. We'll have to see when Maul, what happens with him too. Like, maybe she's just like, yeah, you can go. Like, one of the other things that I found odd about this, the Order 66, is why do they decide they're going to execute Maul? Because he's not a Jedi. So what?
I think it's just the end of his usefulness. Palpatine used his whole insurrection at Mandalore to kind of make them weak so he could come in and take over. So I think that was actually part of his plan. So now Maul has no bearing to him. You know what I mean? So he can be eliminated.
So why? So that raises the other question: why would Order 66? So Rex gets Order 66. Why would that translate into, all right, we're just going to kill Maul now? Like that.
I mean, that could have been a second. Like I'm saying, I don't think he's part of Order 66.
Right.
I think that was just a side. They knew they captured Maul. They got that information from the Jedi Council. So Palpatine made the call for both things.
Yeah.
Like Order 66 and eliminate Maul. You know what I mean? Or they say, oh, we have Maul. What do you want done with him? Isn't that what happens? Doesn't he say, what do you want done with Maul? Or does he ask Rex?
He asked Rex.
Gotcha. So maybe it just came down from Palpatine. That it was just like, he's no longer necessary.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't show that, so that's why.
Yeah, with Maul and I that's why I think they make it back to Coruscant. I just think Coruscant's like of people, so it's the easiest way for. There's just a million ways to escape. That's why I think it's less likely that they get out in the hyperspace. I don't know how that works, and like they can just take an escape pod. Didn't they say destroy all the escape pods?
Yeah.
I think they make it back to Coruscant, and that's how they escape. Basically, Maul and Ahsoka and Rex. There's just so much shit on. Steal a ship, you can. You know what I mean? Especially with all the chaos going.
Do you know what plant they bury?
No. Nope.
All right, so that'll be interesting then too.
Because I think some people were having issues with. I think it was mentioned or hinted strongly at that Order 66 took place while Maul was on, or Maul escapes while they were on Mandalore. I think there was that people were weirded out that they were back on the ship on the Coruscant. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if there's a little bit of, I guess, retconning, I mean, that novel came out how long before this all came out?
Yeah, but from what I remember, it was general what they said. I don't really, other than the lightsaber thing, I don't remember her specific. Again, apparently it happened because a bunch of people are not up in arms about it, but I just don't understand why she said anything about the color of her lightsabers coming from her point of view. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for her to say my green lightsaber, like I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we'll reread it. We'll take a peek.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all
Yep.
I got. Excited for tomorrow, and then we can do a full kind of rerun of the 4 episodes. Just kind of put it all together.
Yeah, yeah. So, I think that wraps up our episode today. As always, follow us on Twitch, subscribe to our YouTube channel and our podcast services if you want to take us on the go. This is our second episode of Pod Between Worlds, and we're going to be still doing the weekly episode unless there's some special occasion or event that's going on. We're also starting a new podcast show, Gaming Evolved. That'll be coming in the next couple weeks. That'll be all video game talk, and we have some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. So, other than that, guys, we'll see you next time.
Later.